let's talk we don't have tons more time. We got a few more minutes, but I want to talk about something else that I think you're really, really good at, and I think you can maybe help people with. So we talked about systems, process, habits, your growth goals, and the marketing to sales stuff. A lot of value in there. Let's talk about team building because I think you're really good at that. You're good at recruiting people. You're good at communicating with people. You're good at getting the right people in the right seats. Talk about that because that's really critical for any organization. You got to be able to get the right person in the right seat to do the thing, or you're going to be stuck. So, what are some tips on there that you can add?
Yeah, hire for character. Back to Tanner. That's where I learned that.
Love
Hire
that.
for character. You're not hiring for skill. You get that 20-year-old veteran painter that looks great on paper, but then you find out he's probably not the most pleasant person to be around, and he's not providing the value to the team, tearing down the culture that you're trying to build. So that's the surface of it. Then it goes into deeper. How do you retain those people? So excuse me. So my branding, we just rebranded. And a big thing of that too is company culture. A lot of people see a bigger brand, it's more of an established company. They're going to want to work for
Yep.
you a little bit more. So you might even attract a lot better team players with something as simple as nice branding. All of our vehicles are wrapped. So that's gonna be a next thing. But then on top of that is gonna be company culture events. Like we're going paintballing this month.
Heck yeah,
There's you know kickoff of
bro.
the year.
Can I sub for you for a week just so I can go to the paintballing trip?
No,
I
not at
didn't
all,
think
because
so.
you,
I
you
didn't think
you're
so.
really good at shooting
I'm really
real
good at
guns.
shooting. You're gonna
Yeah,
lose.
shooting at paintballs, I know different than shooting real guns. Yeah, you're gonna tear us
Yeah.
up. One of my crew leads, he was like sponsored. He was like a tournament. He would go to different places and stuff. So
Oh, cool. So a tournament paintballer.
yeah, he was. So luckily, it's management versus team members. So he's on my side. So
Oh, nice, nice. Um, so we're hiring for character, and I believe in that. I believe that skills are easier to teach than character. I 100% believe that. That kind of gets back to like
100%.
the way you do one thing is the way you're going to do everything. And
Yep.
I'd rather have someone that maybe misses a brushstroke or has a drip or has a run on a wall or something, then that's a thing that can be fixed, right? Than someone that treats a customer bad, because at that point you can't fix that, or
Yep.
at least it's a lot harder to fix. So
100%.
we got that, and then culture. What else do you do for culture other than events, though?
So good question. So I'm honestly, transparently still trying to build up our culture. Like I feel like we have a good culture, but it's not as good as I'd like to be. And reason being is because I'm kind of like in the in between where, we're not as massive as I know we will be. And we're not as small as we used to be. So, I just bring Gatorades to the crews, whatever I can, try to buy them lunch here and there. Every time I stop by a job site, I always pull the guys to the side and not only talk about the job or how they've been doing on their position, but also talking about just their personal life, like how's everything going at home, how's your wife, how's the kids,
I
and
think that's important, dude.
but at the end
Yeah,
of the day, we're human beings, so that's what
yeah,
we
that's
should be
super
doing.
important.
So it is super important, but so you get so stuck in the business. This is my employee. I have to communicate with him differently, but at the end of the day, we're employees. Like I talk to so many people on a normal basis, doing sales, doing, talking to you, marketers, people on Facebook. And at the end of the day, we're just chatting. We all have the same life, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. We're just talking about life. And at the end of the day, sometimes people kind of get lost in the weeds and in the day-to-days and just kind of forget their true roots.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big follower of Gary V, and he talks a lot about like and you kind of said this in a different way, and this is why I'm repeating this. You basically said like you go and you try to not just talk about business, but talk about people's lives. And
Yeah,
Gary V says like if you're a business owner, you should understand the people that work for you and who they are and what motivates them and what's important to them in their lives. Because if you don't understand, like one person may be money motivated, the other person may really get a kick out of an event, the next person may want just an extra day off. Like everyone's going to motivate it slightly differently, but it's your job as a manager, as an owner, especially to know. If your organization is big enough, you might have managers that have to do that tiered down because like Steve Jobs didn't do that to all of his employees, but it should have trickled down through different departments and stuff. I love that you're like touching base with people. I think that's really great. It shows like a really awesome empathetic connection, which I think is super important.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, I have a one of my right hand man. His name's Carlos. He's a rock star. He helps us completely on everything ins and outs of the business. But he's been with us for about, I'd say, 6.5, almost 7 years now. I
Dang.
had my very first painter that ever worked for us, still works for us now. It's probably, yeah, 7.5 years later. He's still working for us now. So we have a few other guys, 3, 4 years in. So yeah, definitely always just building a long-term relationship and making sure that they're taken care of as best as possible has always been my biggest focus point.
I've heard a lot of people debate, like, should you focus more on the customers or should you focus more on the employees? And it's kind of like, should you focus on marketing or the operations first? It's a chicken and egg scenario, right?
Sure,
I personally am of the belief that you should focus on the employee first, because the employee is ultimately who takes care of the customer. Not
sure.
saying you shouldn't care about both, but I would personally lean more towards like 60% of my effort on the employee and 40% on the customer instead of the other way around.
Sure.
You're going to be
Yeah,
working with those employees longer than the customers. They're going to be there day in and day out. Customers have a shorter life cycle, but
I agree with that
um,
completely. Customer's going to be there for a couple of days, residential project, couple of days. Your employees are there for years.
yeah, for sure. Hey, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. If you're looking for help growing your contracting business, I invite you to join my free community. In there, we go live with amazing trainings, share resources and downloads, plus you get free help from me and from peers. That link is down below to join, and we'll see you in the next video.